Shakefest from you because I see that they're doing so much. In fact, I intend to be in two classes this weekend. I'm like, I want to do the hip hop one, but I've always wanted to
All
do
right.
belly dancing, and I'm like, I'm so glad you guys are online.
Yeah, but that's such a benefit this year, isn't it? That
Yeah, it really
we open it
is.
up to all of our international friends, and it's not
Uh-huh.
just about having to be at the castle.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can look at in the future, I suppose, like where there's physical classes, but is there a way of doing a Zoom as well?
Well,
I don't
yeah,
know,
because I
you know?
think that, well, it will definitely more wide open spaces for you guys, being where you're at and being able to get more people involved. But I think the other thing
Yeah.
too is that I always feel such a sense of community when I'm doing anything with anyone that I meet that's from Tullamore. So for me, it's
Yeah.
like at least I'm doing classes with people that I feel more of a community sense with than to go
Yeah.
and find a class where I really don't know anyone. So it's like, eh.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Plus,
have
I
some
think that
deeper
you guys,
ties to people.
yeah, and plus it's for, I feel that it's for a good cause. One of the things is what we're doing for our magazine. Our thing was always about connecting with other countries and what they were doing. It's all about creative and innovative people, what they're doing, how they're contributing to the community. So I've read so much about Shakefest, but I really haven't really had a chance to talk to you really about Shakefest. So let's talk
Hmm.
about how Shakefest got started.
Okay, 2006. And it wasn't by me, it was by a lady named Claire Ann Tobin.
Hmm.
And Claire she's from Bray, and I met her actually at that Casapalooza that Trish was helping on
Hmm.
in 2005. She came with a band. Her boyfriend was in a band, and her and a few like belly dancer friends were all like belly dancing in the audience. And I was like, who is this? Like, oh my God, like I want to be like her. And
Right.
she was just like really mad. She's only in her mid 20s, I think, then, and
Hmm.
she's mad into belly dance, and she just started instructing. So we struck up a conversation, and the next thing I know, I said, "Well, I'd love for you, like, if I could get enough people together for a class, I'd love for you to come down once a week and teach." And she was mad enough to do that. Like, she'd drive from Bray,
Oh, wow.
teach the class in the morning room in the castle, and
Hmm.
that went on for 3 years, I think. And then after a while, it was a bit taxing on her, and I could understand. But like, what ended up happening from that is it sort of started a bit of this cultural sort of movement, a cultural dance movement
Hmm.
in some women in this area, where just some of them were just like as crazy for it as me, and we just kind of really stuck together and we formed a troupe. And next thing you know, Claire had to she had to do a school project. I think it was her leaving year, like her last year of
Uh-huh.
college, and
Hmm.
she had to create an event. So she was thinking of the castle. She's like, "Well, I'd love to do like a holistic workshop day and then a performance afterwards.
Hmm.
And can I do it at the castle?" And she didn't have to pay because she'd been coming down and teaching us so much. With the castle, it's more about it's not like a rental place. It's
Right.
like what you put into it, you get out of it.
Right.
So because she put quite a bit into it, we had to whatever money we made, I think we had to split like as a donation. But like
Hmm.
it most places you'd have to pay through the nose for that, but she was
Right.
very much involved in the community there
Hmm.
and done a lot of work for them. Um, so she did the first Shake Fest as like a school project, but like it
Hmm.
attracted about 70 to 100 people.
Wow.
I was kind of like the Charleville Castle liaison, so I would kind of deal with the administration side, and
Hmm.
she took care of like booking the workshop instructors, and then sort of just there's something called the Hafla. Then afterwards, the Hafla, it's like a multicultural show, but it's
Hmm.
dance show, but it's not so much like a formal show where people like all pay for the tickets and they all sit
Right.
down and they wait for the show to begin and everything has to run flawlessly.
Hmm.
It's not half is more like everyone just kind of gathers around, sits around, dancers and audience, whoever's there, family, friends, and people just sort of go up casually and dance,
Wow.
dance for each other. So there's
Hmm.
not that much of like a pressure there.
Yeah.
So I liked that because I don't really feel the need to have too much attention to details.
Right.
So yeah, and because we formed a belly dance troupe ourselves, like we danced in it, and she had her troupe come down and they danced in it, and we had a few extra guests, and it was a really nice time. And
Mhm.
they had like this little stage, across from the castle that we used, and you know what? It was just a really cool day,
Mhm.
and we decided to keep doing it. So we did 2007, 2008, 2009, and it attracted around the same amount of people. We didn't have like a massive budget for advertising. We did posters, and I posted all around Offaly, and she posted all around Dublin, and it was
Mhm.
just kind of, it was just, the amount that it attracted, it was enough,
Mhm.
like
Right.
to fill workshops and to
Right.
have a nice audience, and that was it.
Mhm.
That's kind of how it went on for a few years,
Mhm.
until 2010, and then she had to tell me she had to leave because she had other commitments,
Mhm.
um, ended up happening. And so I was kind of faced with, was it 2010 or 2011? I can't remember now, but I think it was so no, she helped me with 2010. It was 2011, I think. Then I was on my own, but
Mhm.
in the middle of it, basically, I had to decide, was I going to go ahead with this myself? Like, can I take this whole thing on?
Mhm.
So I really had to think about it. It was scary, to be honest,
Mhm.
because I thought I'm going to take this whole event over, like even booking the workshops and things. But because I'd seen, how things were done, and especially I knew how Charleville Castle worked,
Mhm.
in facilitating an event there, I thought, well, no, I'll give it a go because I'm still very much into it. So from 2011 onwards, um, I took like Claire was kind of involved and came down and helped
Mhm.
out and things like that. But it basically shifted more over to like myself and doing a co-creation basically with Charleville Castle. So like
Mhm.
because they're a culture center, they would kind of have a say in what the program would be like. Like I would check with them what they felt and thought about certain things, and just
Mhm.
just made it like a co-production basically.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I took it from there, until today. It was growing quite a bit. Like in 2015, there's over 1,000 people that came, and we
Wow.
hosted. I don't know if you heard of the band Keela, but they're like, they're very ensconced in Irish music,
Right.
and
Mhm.
band, and they've been known for years, and so that attracted a huge crowd. But see, then after that, like I had my second daughter in 2016, and I thought I better slow down here because like I'm just not going to have the time. If the
Mhm.
time's going to shift,
Right.
to growing this festival anymore, and I thought, well, will I you know, just end it or will I continue? But I just thought, well, you know what? I just thought it was a very, very comfortable thing the way it was, the way it
Mhm.
began, and the
Mhm.
size it was. So I just thought, well, I'll just kind of bring it down to the a little bit, where I can manage it. If anybody
Right.
else wants to come on and help me, do it fine. But like, while there was nobody, I thought I'd just continue as things were kind of the nice size that was between 2006 and 2013, really.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, it grew in size there for a good few for about 4 years.
Mhm.
But then it basically now attracts about at Travel Castle about 200 people.
Okay.
So it has a good audience base.
Yes.
And that was going along fine even from 2019. But as we all know, then COVID happened, and I was in the middle of planning, what 15th Shakefest as
Mhm.
normal, and in the beginning of March, when everything happened, I thought, okay, well, all these other events are canceling, and it looks like I'm not going to have to do the same thing,
Right.
um, because like everything stopped and nobody knew what was happening or not,
Right.
and I thought, well, there goes my funding, there goes all the stuff that like there's the structure gone because
Mhm.
everything just fell away and
Mhm.
everybody hid. And then I got an email a few weeks later just from the county council arts office, who I had submitted an application for funding for some of the performers,
Mhm.
and they said, look, we're still, if you're willing to go ahead with it online, we're still willing to fund, what we told you we'd
Wow.
fund. And I
Great.
was like, oh. So I kind of just modified like a lot of the instructors and performers I had booked. Like I did call around and email and stuff and ask people like, are you willing to take this online? Are you able? Are
Mhm.
you comfortable with doing workshops online, like pre-recorded or by Zoom or whatever? And see, because everything's happened so fast, then a lot of people, their personal lives went upside down too, or they wanted to go back to, you know, their home country if they were, from somewhere else. Like everybody just kind of scattered,
Right.
that I was left really just with a few options. But we're very lucky because we were left with two instructors that were very well versed in Zoom and knew exactly what they're doing. So I said, okay, well, I reworked the budget and I put them in. And then I thought, well, I can do a video hafla. Like, there's quite a few people that love
Mhm.
to just perform for, just contribute their performances, not looking for anything themselves. And I just,
Absolutely.
again, called around or emailed around, messaged around, said, are you willing to, basically just give yourself, get video yourself, in
Mhm.
your performance and submit it to me, so long as it's a good quality and it's got a good quality song. And I went from there. And yeah, and like I think I decided the beginning of April to do Shake, and then it was 2 months later, basically. So it was real whirlwind.
Right.
But I kind of felt at the time that everybody was locked inside, what was going on. I felt really bad and awful for like the children as well, because
Mhm.
everyone's so used to being out and about doing what they want, and now they're stuck inside away from this virus. And I thought, well, it's more important than ever, I think, for Shakefest to promote kind of this dance energy movement and get
Mhm.
people moving, and being inspired, and just at least for a weekend taking their minds off what was going on and positively distract them, and like that's what really drove me.
Well,
And then this year, of course, everyone was saying, oh, well, next year it'll probably be better, it'll be sorted out, whatever. And it is on its way, but like anything, it takes time. And, events aren't, and gatherings aren't allowed, in Ireland anyway. Maybe not in Australia, but like, I don't know. But in Ireland, like, they're nowhere near that yet.
right.
So if I thought, well, if I was going to do an event, it's going to have to be online again. Like,
Right.
even being aware of like the online fatigue and
Mhm.
the Zoom fatigue that everybody is already experienced, like where it was a novelty this time last year, like, oh, this is different. Even though I'm forced to use, it's kind of different, it's kind of cool. But then in about 6 months' time, they're like, oh god, I just I can't handle this anymore. Like, it's just in a good. I think Zoom and Netflix are behind it all.
Right.
They're the ones benefiting from this, right?
That's very, very true. So, all
Yeah.
your dancers and your instructors that you have such a great wealth of diversity. Do a lot of them
Hmm.
live in Ireland, or do a lot of them live, how do you connect with them?
Uh, well, it's funny because I've been doing it for so long. It's like I've known a lot of the performers and students
Mm-hmm.
and instructors for like a while,
Hmm.
like, and some, yeah, a good bit. See, and a lot of them I would have known through Claire's contacts in
Hmm.
Dublin.
Okay.
That's like the foundation of it. And then through that sort whole Dublin circuit, other dancers have come up, and like every year I'll be like, ooh, that's new, that looks cool, and
Hmm.
I'll ask them if they can do a workshop. And so I just built this kind of network of kind of knowing the scene and who's in it,
Hmm.
locally, and mostly in Dublin, some in the West. Like, there was a time when I kind of knew almost every belly dancer, like in the country, or like, the instructors anyway.
Hmm.
So I knew that if I was looking for kind of workshops, or trying to pick out like what would I like for the program in any particular year, like, and I kind
Hmm.
of come across someone during the year, I'd be like, oh, I must ask her. So for me, it's like being a kid in a candy store sometimes.
Hmm.
Oh, that's new. Like, there's always something new fueling my interest.
Hmm.
And so once what we started to introduce then in 2011 was getting an internet. No, sorry, 2010 we got an international guest instructor in, and because of Facebook and because of all the friends and the contacts that I gained through Shakefest, and also for Charleville Castle. Like, if anybody came across Charleville Castle and friended them, like, the trustees would kind of put them on to me and be like, oh, well, this person is kind of like, kind of Shakefest,
Hmm.
could be into Shakefest. Like, if you wanted to connect with them. And I found a few guest instructors through that. Like, I just connected with them and said, look, like, if you'd like to fly over here and conduct two workshops and do a performance, like, and then we'll get the county council office, arts office, to fund the performer, the international guest performer, the flight and the payments. So
Hmm.
that was kind of covered, and then we'd have to just take care of everything else, like with the other instructors, through ticket sales, and like just balancing the budget basically. And it
Right.
seemed to work really. Things balance. It's a not-for-profit
Hmm.
organization, right, Shake?
Hmm.
So any extra money that's left over that's been made goes towards Travel Castle,
Hmm.
its upkeep and its sustainability and stuff like that. So, after everybody's paid, of course. But like, that's how it. There's no profit.
Mm-hmm.
It's never has been. So
Right.
so yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of support. There's like this kind of, I wouldn't say it's a fan base, but it's like a support base of at least 25 to 30 people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll always kind of volunteer to dance in the Halfley every year, or they'll volunteer to like help me out with a fundraiser, or they'll participate in the fundraiser, or like, and I have had like a lot of help, and without that help, I really wouldn't have been able to have it take over.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I feel a very genuine appreciation locally, at least. Like it's gone more local in the obviously in the past few years, only because like you know couldn't go anywhere last year.
Right.
But no,
Right.
but it does go more local. Like I keep obviously it's local, national, and international.
Right.
So it's important that as a local festival that everybody is aware of it and is included. And then nationally, obviously, I reach out through social media, and I've met when I was in belly dance. I used to meet other instructors. I used to go to other events, and I used to
Mm-hmm.
advertise at other events and things like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
internationally, we've made so many international guest instructor friends who we're still in touch with as well,
Mm-hmm.
who recommend other dancers. Then so it kind of a lot's provided.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I haven't really had to search for too much, which has been
Mm-hmm.
really good.
Which is very good. Which is very good.
Mm,
When I was online, and I was getting ready to get my ticket for the Afro pop. Was I
yeah,
did I get the name right? For the adults.
yeah.
I saw that you had a chance to say you had three choices of say where you would like to, uh, fund. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I think one was like children and one was like children and social causes. I believe it was.
Well, do you know, I mean, I purchased a ticket for my friend
Hmm.
the other night. So I was kind of a bit, it wasn't news to me, but when I went through the ticketing process, I saw that too. And I don't know, that's Brown Paper Tickets that does that.
Okay, all right.
That's the
That's from
ticketing
them.
company. And like because they're all about fair trade
Okay,
and the
okay.
sustainability and things. It's just the type of company that they are, Brown
Hmm.
Paper Tickets. And so yeah, um a portion of whatever from their like payment will go towards another charity,
Okay,
which is good.
I see.
Having said that, I mean, if I could have manipulated it a certain way, our international guest instructor this year, the lady that's teaching the Afropop, her name is Moesha K
Hmm.
from Kenya, and she runs an organization called the Divas Initiative, and it's
Hmm.
basically, I mean, it's phenomenal. And the woman works tirelessly at it. I'm kind of a bit astounded, like by what she does, her and other mentors. But
Hmm.
she founded it because where she lives, there's a lot of, I suppose, underprivileged children, or mostly young women.
Hmm.
And the situation there is that like a lot of them don't have parents anymore. Like some of them might have died of HIV, or they wouldn't have been able to. They've been kicked out, or they haven't been able to care for them properly. There's some like that, and she kind of takes them under her wing, and she
Hmm.
cares for them in a
Wow.
mentoring kind of style. So
Hmm.
to pay medical expenses where otherwise the parents couldn't, or like just enough to get them shoes to go to school, or to get them into school, or to keep them
Hmm.
into school.
Okay.
Like just I don't know. I could go on, but it's like she works tirelessly at it, and I would have liked to have added a donation portion to that
Right.
because really like the stuff that she's doing there is very vital.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I've highlighted that on the webpage, because she does work very hard. She's done like a crowdfunding. I think I have it on the State Fest webpage about the
Okay.
crowdfunding donation. Very.
Why you should go. But that's
Mm,
always kind of been a part of my heart, and kind of where we've been now. And so we're building our foundation now. So
oh, great.
definitely, yeah, definitely would love to talk to you about that. So I don't want to hold you up, but I do want to ask you. So tell us about this year's Shake Fest, and when does it happen? And because we plan on putting this in our magazine and promoting this before, at least by today, to get it in there and
Oh,
share with
great.
as many individuals as we can. So
Yeah, I
tell them
appreciate that. Yeah.
what can we expect for the festival?
Well, so it's basically like the same size that was last year, where in a physical setting, you can kind of play around a little bit more. But like, over a weekend, we just thought we need to make it shorter and snappier this year because
Mhm.
of attention spans that have waned.
Right.
Like you really need to catch people's attention and you can't let it drag on for too long.
Right.
Because the difference is when you're at Charleville Castle, you're at Charleville Castle. Like that's the bonus there, like number
Mhm.
one. And then you go into a workshop, but you normally just don't go 10 minutes into it and go, I don't feel I'm gonna go make dinner now.
Right.
Like you go, oh, I'm here for the workshop. I'd be very rude if I just left it. But it's in your own home, your own setting. It's your domain,
Right.
and you
Right.
don't have to feel that guilt or that kind of, thing if you decide to walk away from something.
Right.
I don't know so much about a Zoom workshop, but like
Mhm.
pre-recorded and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's just different. So I just thought, this was probably the better solution. And it's just gonna take over really until like things go back to normal, and then
Okay.
to keep it easy on everyone. So the advantage of what we have at least is that I know we have international guest instructors that get flown over here,
Mhm.
but at least I was able to connect with Moesha in Kenya easily. You know what I mean? Like she's just a
Right.
Zoom phone call away, just like you are.
Right.
And so it's amazing that these days we can just do that. And she's going to do her two Zoom workshops from where she is. She's already recorded a performance for me for the virtual hafla. And she's doing something that's really kind of fresh and new that nobody has really tapped into in Ireland. Like there are traditional African dancers in Ireland, but
Right.
most of them are Irish.
Right.
Like not all of them, obviously. I mean, I'm sure there
Right.
are like Africans that are here that, but like that I have met and this and that, but like just nothing as authentic as her that I've seen.
Right.
And it's Afro pop, so it's something that's modernized. It's just
Mhm.
like a fresh, new, different kind of a style.
Right.
And she's fantastic. Like if you look her up on the website or like even TikTok, if you look at her stuff
Mhm.
on TikTok and
Mhm.
all the classes that she does, everybody looks like they're having so much fun.
Right.
I just can't wait to get started with her. I really can't.
Mhm.
She's so energetic, and like just the stuff that she's doing besides her dancing. Like she's got so much energy. I don't know where she gets it from. So for the kids, it's the same thing. It's introduction to Afro pop. It's a traditional African and hip hop fusion.
Mhm.
And it's introduction for kids, and that's on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and then introduction for adults is Sunday at 3 o'clock.
Mhm.
And it's along the same lines. Obviously, for the adults, they might be able to absorb a bit more,
Right.
But it's not anybody can join, and you don't have to have any kind of dance experience. It's going to be some fun, learn something new.
Okay.
So she's our international guest instructor, and then so we have a mix of like workshops for kids and adults.
Mhm.
Um, and then we have something called Dramanimals with Beluga Theatre. His name is Oisin Robbins, and he's local from Clara, just over the next town over.
Mhm.
They're a drama company, and they do a lot of drama kids games. But they, I hosted him. I coordinated an event last year, where it was a children's festival, and he did quite a few of the Zooms during that time. And his workshop in particular worked really well with Zoom because I just sit in on it, but um, you could see all the screens of all the different kids and him, and he'll go, okay, so and so, you go do this, and then but because they could all see each other on the screens, it worked. Like their improv games worked really well,
Right.
and it just kind of went along really smoothly. And I thought, oh, I'd have to get him for Shake, because he's
Right.
fantastic with the kids. He's
Mhm.
great icebreaker games and makes them feel real comfortable. So that's at 3 o'clock on Saturday. And Sunday. Oh yes, and then basically we always have an element of belly dance in Shakefest because that's its roots.
Right.
Really is where
Right.
it started. It was the cultural dance. It's Middle Eastern and Oriental dance. It could be tribal belly dance as well. Like we've always
Mhm.
highlighted something there. So we've had this lady twice before as international guest instructor, and she's from Argentina. Her name's
Okay.
Mario Sitka.
Mhm.
So she belongs to a troupe. Like there's a man named Kazafi, and he's very, very highly regarded in the Oriental dance world. And
Mhm.
he basically has like a troupe, and he has branches of troops worldwide. And
Wow.
she manages one of these troops in Argentina. So she'd
Okay.
be very kind of highly regarded, I suppose, in the belly dance world for those who are seriously into it.
Mhm.
But she is like the most fun in the world. Like whenever she comes over, like her and I just have a blast. Really, like she's just so happy to be there. She's got a great sense of humor. Like, it just takes everything in stride. And I don't know.
Hmm.
It's been a pleasure to host her twice. I
Hmm.
normally don't do that, but because she's
Right.
just so great to work with,
Right. Hmm.
it's 2013, 2017. She came over
Okay.
to Ireland.
All right.
So this time she's doing one called the Golden Age of Belly Dance. So it's basically taking the belly dance style, taking you back, in time to the 40s to the 60s, when belly dancing got very kind of popular between those years
Hmm.
in Hollywood and in Egyptian cinema.
Right.
And the women that danced were very glamorous then.
Hmm.
It's more about glamour. Like, they really fused like the traditional dance with the glamour of
Okay.
it, and there's something kind of just very compelling about it, and just
Wow.
interesting to watch. So she's just going to take, it's for people that might have some basic belly dance,
Okay.
moves. Again, even if that you don't have to have a lot of experience. Like, this is more
Right.
just about style as well.
Right.
um but it's all about, like, just, you can get a veil, and you just, the way that you move, and the certain types of moves and things
Hmm.
like that they did back
Hmm.
then,
Okay.
which will be a lot of fun. And she always makes like every workshop a lot of fun, so I'm really looking
Okay.
forward to that as well.
Hmm.
That's something we've never hosted before in all those years, so I
Hmm.
always just love a new theme.
Right. Right.
So yeah, she's going to be doing her workshop at 1 o'clock.
With everyone.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just, at least with the vaccines, there is light at the end of the tunnel there. We
Absolutely.
know it's gonna, happen at some point. Like, and I'm astounded, really, like, at the speed of it, of
Yeah.
trying to grapple with all this. Everybody, But look, I mean, yeah, at some point things will return to normal, and hopefully when that happens, Shake will be there, and things will keep going. And I'd love to keep the flame going, really. In the meantime, I've been exploring just online and the benefits of online. And with online, we have discovered a few kind of cool things about it, where maybe you couldn't, because I mean, that was the whole thing. Is, yes, everybody came to Charleville Castle, but there's no online anything. But now
Right.
I'm thinking about,
Very
well,
true.
what about live streaming and the likes of yourself and
Hmm.
people that are interested, and I've gotten used to being closer to us now, the way
Right.
that we are. They
Right.
don't want to, we don't want to pull away from that again. So how can we
Absolutely.
integrate online to include all of our international friends as well?
Oh, I hope
So
so
it's
too.
something interesting to look at.
Right. It really is. It really is. So I'm not I appreciate you having the time because I know you're busy, but I also appreciate you being, up at this time. And believe me, I did an interview in the UK one time and the author was like, yeah, we're just sitting in the bed doing the article, got our pajamas on. It was like really late at night. I was like, I so appreciate
That's not
it.
too
But
late for me.
yeah, I always
Oh, it's
appreciate
fine. It's not too
it.
late for me at all.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, and I'm kind of, I think I'm ahead of, not ahead of myself, but I think I'm up to date with everything. I'm waiting
Right.
on one more video submission for our
Okay.
virtual hafla, and that's gonna come into me as a final draft tomorrow. But I can't do anything really. Like, I'm just
Mhm.
waiting for like workshop registrations, like, to kind of just working away at that, and just
Right.
preparing for the weekend, with make
Mhm.
sure that my Zoom invites are all done. Did you book your tickets? Did you?
Not yet. I'm waiting till I was like, well, let me get through my interview and all that. And I
Oh
said,
yeah.
then I'll sit and book my tickets, because I was like, oh my God, I can do this. I was like,
Yeah, great.
but
Well, I'm looking
this
forward
is,
to seeing you then.
well, this is probably a weekend that I haven't had to work. So I'm excited. I was like, because I have something to do. Actually, I
Oh,
said,
great.
oh, I said I will book myself for both, both things. I said it will give me something on Saturday and something on Sunday, and I'm gonna enjoy it either, no matter
Yeah, it's a
what.
nice hour. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of fun with the belly dance and the Afro pop. Like, it's
Yes,
fun. It's light, because
yes,
that's the thing too. We didn't want to do is like have things really like, oh, specialty day, because like right now we're trying to be as inclusive to everybody. I
right,
know that out here, like right now, people are going out more. They can go to the park. It's not like it was last year where everybody felt cooped up. I
right,
know that, but at the same time, they still can't go to a gathering, and they still can't experience it like they did.
right,
And we
right.
still feel the need to open it up to anybody, really, like, and
Hmm.
make it as accessible to everyone, while they still kind of need this.
Well, I hope
So it's
you.
going to
I
be very
hope.
lighthearted and fun.
Well, like you
Pardon?
said, I hope you still continue to use technology. It's been great because I know another guy who plays the guitar to a
Mm-hmm.
lot of individuals that can't get out, whether it's pandemic or not. And it's been really cool to see that because a lot of things I know before my mother passed, she couldn't do a lot of things. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was great to be able to listen to a radio program or to see, someone doing something that she loved to see. And so we have a couple of projects at Vertical to be able to, share more with those
Yeah.
individuals and keep sharing with them, especially because, like you said, everybody, no matter what age you were, has learned how to use Zoom through this pandemic.
Yeah, whether you wanted to or not. Like,
Right?
I mean, I'm proficient. I think I'm proficient enough in it now. Like, and my parents, oh my God, they Skype with me usually
Uh-huh.
every Sunday. And
Okay.
Skype is easy because we've got each other's Skype IDs and we're already there, and all I have to do is press the little video icon. And
Right.
it's just one on one. And I
Right.
know that you can do conference ones.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to do that about 5 years ago before Zoom really came along.
Right.
Um, and then like my dad and my aunt, they have birthdays on the same day, and my aunt turned 80. And I thought, look, I don't see any of these guys. I'm going to try to organize a little Zoom sessions so everybody can see each other,
Right.
because this poor woman couldn't, she couldn't celebrate her 80th like she wanted to. Everybody
Right.
usually has like a nice birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, right, we'll do a Zoom. Oh my God. I mean, it was comedy of errors. Like my parents got on and they're like, why can't they see us? And it was like, we're like on this for 50 minutes. And my cousin's like, what the hell have you done? Why have you done this? I'm like,
Right.
I had good intentions for
Right.
15 minutes. They're like, what? And what, and then like my mom is over, like, she's like this, like, hi everyone. And I'm like, Mom, for 15 minutes, like, Mom, move over to your left, over to your left. And she's like, what? And then she'd be like, well, like this, you mean? I'm like, no, keep moving over to your left. And she's my dad, and it was like, and she's half deaf in like one ear,
Uh-huh.
and it was a nightmare. I'm like, and everybody's just like, oh my God, like, why did you? What's the point? But like, that's Zoom. That's
That's
what's forced
great.
us into it. But like,
Right.
we tried it. It works for some, maybe not so much for others that are like in the late 70s, early 80s. But um, I'm sure like everybody's got a story like that somewhere.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Terry, thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Yeah,
It's
you too.
really good. Thank you for being such a great friend and communicating with us back and forth. I really appreciate that. But I thought it was time to do something and learn more about Shakefest, and definitely I want to be a part of it if
Well, I appreciate that.
if we're able to come
I'm
next.
sorry that you haven't been able to be part of it like we planned a couple years ago, but
Yeah.
hopefully
Well,
soon again.
right. But this is making it even better. We can participate in some things, but also I can share it. I want to share this also with, our participants that want to come, that there's a
Hmm.
lot of things that they can, be involved in as well. It's
They could
even,
take a couple of Zoom workshops as tasters to see what
yes,
it's, what it's all about if they wanted to.
most definitely.
Yeah, before they actually get to the place itself,
Right.
ask them to watch the virtual Hafla, because there's elements of Travel Castle that we always keep in there as well. Like we do film in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few performances that are in the castle itself
Okay.
that we used, just to keep the castle connected, because
Yeah.
Shakefest doesn't exist without Charleville Castle.
Right.
I
Okay.
would never send it anywhere else. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's where it is. It's where it lives. So
Okay.
we keep the spirit of the castle very much alive in what we do.
Well, that's great.
Um, I have to talk to you about Deirdre.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you want me
And
to talk to you now, or
hold on, let me stop the recording.
yeah?
Okay, what's happening with Deirdre?